everyone. I am Lily Mae, and welcome to another episode of Glambitious Talk. This episode is brought to you by Bind Studio 158 in Raleigh, North Carolina. It is a premier facility for all of your photography and podcasting needs. If this is your first time tuning in, please visit theglamceo.com just to learn more about the Glambitious platform and how we host amazing events to amplify women, as well as have a membership to help you enhance your visibility and your voice for success. I love bringing amazing, dynamic women from around the world to my platform, and today is no different. You saw her as a panelist during our Essence Festival brunch this summer, and she's also participated with a few other activities we've had. So just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about who you are.
Okay, well, it is such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I am Lani Shaw, and I am a federal government attorney by trade. But last year, I also started my own coaching business, and it is Coaching with Lani. And as an executive coach, I work with professionals, primarily women, but all professionals generally, in helping them level up to their next level in terms of positioning them for whether they want a promotion, whether they want to pivot into entrepreneurship, whether they want to get hired by a different organization. I want women to live their best lives, to have the positions that they want, and I also want them to do it while preventing burnout. And so I focus on that with my coaching company. And also, I am a speaker. I speak at a number of different events and facilitate training on leadership development. I am just so excited to get to work with the dynamic professionals that I work with over time, and it has just really been a great joy to do so.
So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to add the coaching element to your current efforts.
Oh, yes, I love to talk about that because I have actually been coached. I've been coached at two different points in my career. The first point in my career, I felt stuck. I didn't know how to get to the next level, how to get promoted. And so I started working with a coach. And through that process, I gained a lot of clarity about what it was actually that I wanted to do with my career. And then I got promoted. And as I got promoted, I said, well, what do I do next? How do I work on my 90-day plan? How do I make sure people are happy with their selection in me? And so I worked with another coach. And through that work of my second coach, she said, you're really good at leadership development, at training, at employee engagement. I think coaching would be just another element of what you present to others. And so I decided at that point to get certified as a coach, to go through the training. And I'm just so happy that I did, because it really has been a great opportunity to partner with professionals and to help them to achieve their goals.
Yes, I love that, because I feel like this is a transitional season for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's talk about that feeling of stuck. Like, what does that feel like to be stuck? When you're working, you're getting up every day, you're going through the motions, but you still feel stuck. What does that feel like?
I'm so glad you said that, because it is a feeling, and a lot of people don't know that they're actually stuck. They know that they're not learning, they're not feeling engaged on their job. They don't, they don't feel inspired to take on challenging assignments. They're just not feeling that there's any room for growth or development. And they're not sure what the next steps could be for them. And so somehow they get stuck in their career. It could just happen. And one day you wake up and you're like, this does not feel the same that it used to. And through coaching and, other professional development, you can get unstuck. Mm-hmm. You can figure out what it is that you actually want to do with your career.
Yeah, because we are all multi-gifted, and sometimes, God is wanting to develop another aspect of a gift, mm-hmm. but we're so stuck in doing the same routine, in the same profession, in the same business, showing up the same way, mm-hmm. and then we start to feel that, uneasiness or that unfulfillment, and we're not realizing, okay, he's calling us to mm-hmm. something more, to something else. Like, what's, I guess, a piece of advice? Like, what's a first step that someone should take if they're feeling stuck?
You know what? A first step that someone should take is really to start documenting what they're doing. There are different wins that you accomplish, different small steps that you take every day. And if you start to document the great things that you're doing and start to review that and reflect on it, it will make a difference, whether it was you read a leadership book, whether it was you spoke up in a meeting, whether it was, you volunteered for a challenging assignment. If you start to collect those wins, as I say, and mm-hmm. document them, that will not only increase your visibility in your position, or whether it's your business or your organization, but it will also give you this momentum and this sense of confidence and self-accomplishment. And I think you will start to look at your career in a different way.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's a great idea. It's so funny that you say that because literally either yesterday or the day before yesterday, I started to just search a hashtag from my business and scroll and scroll and scroll and look at all of the things that, I've done over the past 13 years. And I was like, oh, girl, you've been working. It's like, I think we all need to sometimes take a second to, like you said, collect the wins, to look back, to see, the things that we have done that are very impactful, whether it's in our career or our business. And that does provide momentum because I was like, oh, girl.
You just did more than you thought you'd had, right?
Absolutely. Exactly. So very much more. In this season of your life, you mentioned visibility and you are showing up in different spaces and speaking. How has visibility impacted what you're doing this season?
It has impacted it because visibility is very important whether you are a business owner or whether you are someone that works for an organization and you're trying to climb the corporate ladder. The way that you get to where you're going to go is that people have to see you. And sometimes people are afraid of visibility. Sometimes people are afraid of saying, oh, well, I'm posting, or they feel that I'm bragging. But you've got to show up. And the visibility will always make a difference. I have folks that were in my coaching cohort that they think social media gives them the ick. They don't want to post anything, right? And I'm posting every day, 6 times a day. And they're like, how are you doing that? Because I want to be visible. I want to get clients. And so, the visibility will not only, give you momentum as you're thinking about what it is you want to do with your business and keep you focused, but it will allow others to see you as well.
Absolutely. Everyone knows that, is what I preach to women, that, hey, you have to show up, you have to be seen, you have to allow people to hear your voice and grow comfortable with that, because that is truly one of the biggest ways to elevate in your career and in your business, is to be seen and to be heard. As it relates to like a habit that someone could maybe start doing to build that confidence, what would you say, that someone should start doing to build confidence and showing up more?
You know what? For me, I think it's mirror work. If you have affirmations that you say about yourself every day, that will build your confidence. And I tell my coaching clients that, when they're doing the work, they say things about themselves. They speak out loud to themselves about who they are and what the Bible says they are, for people that believe. And that will help you to grow your confidence. Hearing your voice, hearing God, what God has said about you, makes a difference. And it gives you this confidence to show up in this world.
Yes. I think that is very important, because a lot of people think affirmations are cliche, and it's like, no, there's actual value in our voice. There's actual, like, a spiritual activation that happens when you speak something, whether positive or negative. And I feel like we definitely have to watch our words so that we don't speak on the things that we don't want, but instead use our voice to speak on the positive, to affirm where we're going, to affirm who we are. So I agree with affirmations. Actually, I listened to some this morning. I was just listening to someone else. So I wasn't saying them, but I was listening to them.
You're listening to them.
Yeah, and it's just feeding yourself and feeding your spirit with something positive so that you can, be anchored and feel that sense of momentum and confidence to keep showing up.
I have a male client who thought it was silly at first. He said, I'm not going to be doing that. It's easier to sell with my female clients. And he said, I'm not going to be doing that. And then he came back 2 weeks later. He's like, oh my gosh, it's making a difference. So I was just like, hey, it works for everyone. There's so much negativity in the world that you can fill yourself with. So why not start with things that are positive? Why not think about all the things that you want to accomplish and say them? I'm a great attorney. I'm a great coach. People flock to me for my services. Why not say those things about yourself?
Exactly. And I think that sometimes we underestimate how much negativity we're taking in from social media, from the news, from the radio, from other podcasts and things of that nature. And we don't realize that, we're taking this in all day, on a very subtle level. And then we're not pouring in the positive to, push that down and add positive to the pot. So I think affirmations, of course, reading your word, of course, listen to the word of God, listen to ministry, all of those things are like pouring in some positivity to drown out all the negativity that we don't even intentionally, realize that we're taking it just from scrolling, just from a simple scroll.
Just a scroll.
Exactly.
Envy of others, thinking, oh, this person did this. The comparison, it steals your joy, right?
Yeah, it's so much that steals your joy, and you don't even realize it just from scrolling first thing in the morning, and your body just seeing so many different things. The news, like you said, something that you want to achieve that you haven't, now you feel a type of way. We have to combat that with daily positive affirmations at the
Absolutely.
least. So
Yes.
I definitely agree with that. And I feel like another thing that happens from social media scrolling, which we all do, it contributes to our burnout as well because it makes us in like a silent competition with other people in the world. So for the women that are experiencing burnout, you know, maybe it's tangible, maybe it's literal, maybe it's figurative. What is your advice for them if they're in a space of burnout?
You know what? When you're feeling burnout, first of all, I say you need to try to get some rest, whether that's go on vacation, get a change of scenery, do whatever it takes there. But I also think that you need to figure out to shake up what's going on with you. And sometimes that can be, a class that energizes you, finding a new hobby, thinking outside of, okay, this is just my position, my job, this is what I do every day. Find something else that energizes you. Find something that spurs you forward. And then you also have to work on your work-life balance, which I call work-life integration, because life and work are not always balanced 50-50%. But find things that will help you to set your boundaries so that you can say, okay, if I'm going to work out, I'm going to work out. If I'm going to, spend time with my dog or whatever it is, or if I'm going to go on a vacation, figure out what those things are and hold true to them. If you're not going to check email when you get home, don't check email. Whatever it is that you're setting as your boundaries, it's okay to set those boundaries, but you also have to adhere to them. And that will definitely help you with your burnout.
Oh, no, you are so right about that because I feel like boundaries in business, professional boundaries is definitely something I've struggled with as a creative entrepreneur, as an ambitious entrepreneur, because I'm always checking my email, always, always. And I have to implement a boundary where it's like, okay, after 6, stop checking your email, Lily, okay? Like be a normal human being and disconnect from work. And I'm sure there are even executives that do the same, where they find themselves constantly checking their email or making themselves available to respond to someone immediately instead of the next business day. And I do think boundaries, that's definitely going to help prevent burnout, prevent us from having, too much, working too hard and not having enough self-care, exercise, and all of those things. What are some of your personal activities that, help you personally prevent burnout? Yeah.
I am a runner, so I run every day from 11 to 12 is blocked off on my calendar at work. So people know, like, Lani's going to be in the gym. I like to run. I like to lift weights. I like to meditate. I like to travel. I travel 3 to 4 times a year for vacation, other times for business purposes. But I just enjoy, going to the beach, being near the water, going to the pool. And for me, those are non-negotiables. I have to have it. And so I have to find a way to fit those things in. Now, I will tell you, I work hard because you have to work hard if you have a full-time job. And then, of course, you're a business owner. So like in the hotel last night, I did 5 speaking proposals that have been on my calendar. So I went ahead, sent those out. It's always a time to work, and it's also a time to play. It's also a time to rest and to recover. And so I just have to realize, what season am I in, and how do I fit them both in right now?
Yes, excellent that you have that structure, because a lot of us hate the gym. So when you're like, yeah, I love running, I'm like, ugh.
I'm a runner.
I don't mind running, but I can't say I love it. And then lifting weights, like a lot of us have like a natural resistance to the gym. So I admire that it's something that, you really actually enjoy.
It keeps me sane. It keeps me, focused on, okay, I got my rundown. Now I can go back to work and knock this out, this memo out or whatever, have this team meeting, whatever it is. Now I feel centered. I feel focused.
Yeah,
so,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. I think I went to the gym maybe 4 times this week, which is a lot for me.
Well, you can work out outside of a gym too. So it's not
true.
necessarily you have to be in a gym. You have to be on a piece of equipment.
That's true. That's true. I just feel like, I've been paying them and they just getting that free membership money out of me every month. I got to go check in at least.
Well, did you pat yourself on the back? I tell my clients, pat yourself on the back for the 4 times that you went, because you didn't have to do that.
I know, and for 4 times for me, especially because I think I'm a little bit of a workaholic for sure. So 4 times for me was really good. So I definitely, pat myself on the back. I posted some videos in my little cute workout outfits. And that was me celebrating like, hey, I fit it in. And to your point, I think it's so important that we fit in exercise beyond just trying to lose weight, trying to be cute, but for mental health purposes.
Absolutely.
Like I felt so clear. I got some ideas when I was working out, like I think it's something that as ambitious women, we definitely need to make it a part of our daily, discipline. So is there anything else you would want people to know about you or your coaching practice?
Let's see, my coaching practice. Often it appears that I'm focused primarily on career coaching, but I coach the whole person. And that's so important to me because your life interacts with your work life, your home life interacts with everything as well. And so I want people to think about themselves as the whole person and what they're trying to work on for sustainability. And that means whether it's their relationship, whether it's, their church life, whether it's, they're overwhelming themselves with all the organizations they're in. I coach the whole person. And so whatever you bring to me that day is what we're going to handle, what we're going to figure out what's the plan for you for that. And so I say that because people show up the way they are, you know. If something happened at home, why would we not talk about it? Why would we not figure out, well, let's see how we can declutter that situation or figure that out for you so now that you're not blocked and move on to the next step. So I enjoy that aspect of it, being able to interact with my client in that way. I also pray for my clients. I pray for them often because it is a stubborn job market out here. And folks are not, getting the offers as quickly as they might have in the past. So I pray with them, I pray for them, I send them prayers, before their interviews. And this year, I actually started my coaching business coaching federal government employees who had been displaced. Wow. And had been, lost their position to DRP or DEI or whatever it was. And so I come with that understanding that there's sometimes the sensitivity around people have their idea that is wholly attached to what it is that they do. Mm-hmm. And so trying to kind of help them peel that back so that they can find if it's a new identity, if they want to pivot into something new, whatever it is, I'm here to support you.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that identity piece because I feel like a lot of us, our identity is anchored in accomplishment, or it is anchored in a position that we've held or a degree that we have, or, something of that nature. And then when you become unfulfilled in that area that you've attached your identity to, yes, it's a complicated, dance, I think. And so I'm glad you talked on, the identity part, because I feel like in the 40s, that people call it a midlife crisis, but I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. But I feel like it's a midlife moment that a lot of people are in. And it's related to identity. It's related to the economy. It's related to the job market. It's related to us having too much exposure to what everyone else is doing in the world. And now you have this mixed bag where it's like, okay, well, what do I do now? So I think the work that you're doing is very needed, very timely. How can people connect with you on your website, social media, all those things?
Yeah. And so I will say to that point, it's never too late to pivot. So I don't care if you're 50, 60, 70. If there's a goal that you want to achieve, it's never too late for that. So I wanted to throw that out there. But I can be reached on Instagram, Level Up with Coach Lani. I also have a YouTube channel where I give weekly advice and tips on how you can level up with clarity and confidence. It's Level Up with Coach Lani on YouTube. I would invite you to join me there, to subscribe to the channel. And if I can be of any assistance to you as you think about your career, your life, and your leadership goals, feel free to interact with me on my website, coachingwithlani.com, and send me a message there. Would love to chat with you.
I love that. Make sure that you connect with her, you follow her, and stay connected to everything that she has going on. I do think that sometimes as ambitious women, we're trying to do everything alone. And when God brings someone, to the forefront that could support you, that could help you, I think it's our duty to connect with people that can help us out of those periods of, stuckness, out of the unfulfillment, and into where we're supposed to thrive. So if any of this episode resonated with you, make sure you connect with Coach Lani. Again, I am Lily Mae, creator of the Glambitious brand. The purpose of my platform is to elevate dynamic women entrepreneurs from around the world. So if you are one of those dynamic women that need to be in community, definitely visit theglamceo.com. Consider joining our visibility membership, meeting us in Martha's Vineyard or New Orleans or Atlanta or DC.
DC's coming.
DC brunch loading, okay? Because, I think that this is a season where we need to be surrounded with like-minded women of faith who are ambitious, who are, supportive, and who really help to anchor each other. So you can sit with us. Make sure you also follow me on Instagram at I am Lily Mae. And thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Glambitious Talk.